project converted over to a $120,000 project.
Holy smoke.
I had this ability to like, I would see something and I'd be like, all right, let me mimic that. Even if I don't know exactly how to do it, like, let me try to make it look like that.
Welcome to The Home Show, where we sit down with builders, designers, and real estate professionals shaping the spaces we call home. I'm your host, Oscar Michaels, founder of OM Media. And in each episode, we dive into the stories behind the brands, the strategies behind the success, and the marketing moves that help these local leaders stand out. From concept to completion, from startup to legacy, this is where real conversations happen. So welcome to season 1, episode 9. Today we are sitting down with the owner of Total Pro Contracting and Total Pro Roofing. He's got 2 passive income streams coming in. His name is Luke Kleiger. Luke, I've known you for a long time. I'm excited to have you here. We've been working together for about 2 years now, which is crazy to think about. Time flies. Excited to have you. Everyone, Luke is based over in Telford, right? Harleysville. All right. Just recently, so he's based over there, but does a ton of work throughout the Bucks County, Montgomery County areas, even close down into Philly and like Chestnut Hill area, and then all the way up into the Lehigh Valley. So you're pretty much all over. Welcome, dude. I'm excited to have you. Why don't you tell us a little bit about, where you came from, where you grew up, and how you kind of got started into Total Pro?
Sure. All right. So it started in the winter of '93, right?
That's when I was born.
Right. So I grew up in Percy area, like originally from Sellersville, moved over to Dublin when I was like 8 years old. So like Penridge was the high school I was at.
What year did you graduate?
2011.
11 years, same year as me. I had no idea.
But I think we went to different schools together.
Sure.
Type of thing.
Sure.
But yeah, man. I don't know how to really start this thing off. I guess like growing up at home and like what kind of drew me towards getting into.
So what hobby you were into? Skateboarding, I know that quite a bit. And like what kind of navigated you? Like, did you have mentors that got you to where you're at now?
Okay. Yeah, man. Like as a kid, I was like super active in the regards of like big skateboarder. Like my household was very much like we worked, right? Like
for sure.
Weekends were like splitting firewood, like painting, like the exterior of the house. Like it was always like we were doing something, right? And at the time, like I didn't think that it would ever gravitate towards like doing what I do now. Like no way. Like, I mean, I hated doing this stuff. They would give me some money sometimes. Like they'd be like, all right, they'd be like, paint the foundation of the house, right? And I always remember this one because I hated it. Right, like, and they'd want to do it like every couple summers, right? They'd be like, "We got to repaint the foundation of the house," and there's like bushes everywhere, and I'm like crawling in the dirt, like trying to slap paint. It's like the middle of August.
Oh
right?
my god!
And like I'd get like $40, you know what I mean? And I'd be working for like a week and a half trying to paint the whole foundation of the house. But like, I do believe that it sort of ingrained, like it instilled this certain version of like my work ethic. Like it truly did, and like having kids of my own now. Boy, it's a struggle trying to just get them outside. Like seriously,
especially in today's world, the iPads and iPhones and video games, man, it's hard.
Yeah, it's but as you know, like we got some property, so like we really try to get them to do some of those things that I did, because I really believe that there's like a subconscious or like something that becomes a part of like your daily routine as an adult. I'm definitely grateful for it to have had. At the time, I hated it. Right,
sure,
like at the time, it was like the worst thing ever. But it sort of just led into like my entire like work ethic as an adult, like a young adult, into sort of where I'm at now, and then sort of leading into like getting into the trades. I had no intention of doing construction. Like I went to Votech for diesel. Right, like I thought I was going to be a mechanic.
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
I thought I was going to be a mechanic. And to kind of like explain that is like my father, those trucks that fill potholes.
Sure.
Like
they dropped us. Yeah.
So he invented like the components for that truck. So like he had a business, a successful business. And when I was a kid, I would work in the shop, like working on these hydraulic systems and PTOs and like learning like wiring and stuff. And like I was probably 10. Like I think I started out sweeping the floor and then worked my way up to other things, but like I thought I wanted to work on cars.
Sure.
And then I went to college for automotive for a short period of time and like quickly realized like I don't want to be in a garage every day. Like the smell.
Sure.
I was like, this isn't what I want to do. Like I thought I wanted to be like a counselor at one point. Like I didn't know what I wanted to do. It wasn't this. Like, that's what I'm trying to get at.
Sure.
It wasn't like a straightforward path to be like, oh, well, I love working with my hands and making stuff out of wood. And it's like, that's not my story. Right. But to sort of backtrack, like, there was sort of this part of me that always did that kind of stuff as a kid because we had an old house.
Sure.
We were always working on it. And like, I just kind of like, it made sense to me when I got into a job, right? That was like,
Yeah, like why not take all these skills and carry it over to real life?
right.
And make some money.
Yeah.
Like real money, not $40 painting foundation.
Exactly. And like, I think the funny thing about it was like when it's all happening in front of you, like for me at least, like I had no idea that it would ever turn into anything. Like I got a job in the city, working for this company installing green roof, right? So like these vegetated roofs on like,
Really?
yeah, on like big buildings, right? So like universities, colleges, like Drexel, we did a roof on, University of Penn, we did it. So it's these massive, like sometimes 10,000 square foot of like vegetation.
Are they still there now? Like,
Yeah. Oh,
I think I've seen them. Like, because I've
probably
done
have.
some work at Penn for an architect firm, and I think I've seen like what you're talking about.
Yeah, you probably have because there was like a big thing with like water tax. So what happens is it actually, because there's so much building coverage in the city.
Sure.
And don't like quote me on this. Like I don't really
Sure,
know
sure,
what
sure.
I'm talking about, but my version of it was that like all the runoff water, it would absorb into the roof as opposed to like just draining into their water system. So like it would save the building coverage like tax money.
Wow. Okay.
You just following what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It's
for
something
sure.
like that. I could be completely wrong. too,
Sure.
But
That makes sense.
but I think that's how I remember it. So I had a job there, and the thing was like there was like these three brothers, right?
Okay.
And like one was like did real estate, the other one was an architect, and then the other one did a lot of like the green roof and solar system installs. And they had like this old building in North Philly, and they would like just let me loose in there to like build stuff, like frame in rooms, and then they would buy like when Northern Liberties was coming up and like those areas, they'd buy like an old row home and gut it, and they just like send me loose on it. Like I had no idea what I was doing. Like they'd be like frame in this or point this brick or do, and I was probably I was maybe 19 at the time.
Wow.
Right. So I'm like, whatever. And I was always the kind of person like I was like, I'll do it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it might not look good, but like I think at the time I was making like $10 an hour or something. So to them it was probably they didn't really care.
Yeah,
Like,
sure. There's nothing to them.
But like I had this ability to like just kind of like I would see something and I'd be like, all right, let me mimic that. Even if I don't know exactly how to do it, like let me try to make it look like that. And I would do that, dude. I'd start framing. I didn't even know what like 16 inches on center. But I didn't know any of that, right? I just start building walls, and then I'm like, how come these sheets of plywood aren't like? Why is it not lining up? You know what I mean? Like it's pretty comical now, but like at the time, that's how I learned. That's how I learned that. That's like my way of learning is like if I don't know it, like I'm gonna do whatever I can to figure it out. So kind of like backtracking a little bit on like. Sort of like coming up, like I didn't really like school.
Sure.
Right? Like,
Hated it myself.
but I was really good at math. And I feel like now, like I look at it, I'm like, well, it makes sense because like math to me was like, it's problem solving, right?
Sure.
And in what I do every day, it is very much that. Like there's the skilled part of like building stuff. And then there's like the ability to problem solve because there's always something.
Sure.
Right? Like you open up a wall, there's pipes, there's this, there's that. Like if you can't think about how to change that, you're not doing anything that day.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Or if you can't come up with like a solution to how something fits into a space, it's not getting built. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So that's the whole thing with what I've learned over the years. Like problem solving really comes first.
And I see that come out in you on jobs when you do some content shoots, like where you guys are really busy and I'm kind of just in the background. Like I remember you were doing, I think it was in Hapro, that job where you guys were redoing the dining room, but you were taking out the floor, redoing the studs, and the one guy like didn't know the measurement, and you immediately had like the next measurement for the next beam on like what center on center was, and I was like, damn, Luke knows his stuff.
Yeah.
But you learn from doing, right? Like,
Yeah.
and getting it wrong because you don't want to make the second mistake twice. So having those failures like led to success for you. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely a lot of willing to learn. So to get to like the point of like, how did I even get to doing this? Right?
Sure.
I had a lot of different jobs. I was like a maintenance guy for a while at like a condo with like 500 some houses. And that was fun, but like it was a slow pace, right? And like and even then, like I feel like the whole time I just had no idea what I was doing in life. Like I was just going with the motions.
Sure.
And then,
Imposter
and
syndrome.
then like opportunities show up, right? And then I became aware of those opportunities. So then I got offered like a position at a school as like a head custodian, right? Or a janitor.
Sure.
Glorified janitor. I was some sort of manager, whatever. It was a janitor.
Okay.
But like my daily duties were like, make sure that like if a kid throws up, like I gotta go clean up the throw up. If light bulbs go out, change the light bulbs, like mow the grass and it was okay. It was a good job, good benefits and all that, but it was just like it was slow.
Just not
Like, there was
rewarding.
nothing there that I felt was like really driving. And I think other people that I worked with saw that. And like after being there for a couple years, like some stuff happened in my life that put me in a position where I had to make a decision as to like which direction I was going to go. I almost felt like I was stuck. Like I was stuck at that job. It was just enough to like, it was a decent amount of pay. It was good benefits. Like I really felt like I was like, for like good 2 years of my life, like there was just no progress,
Sure.
right? Like no growth. So when I got to this point in my life where I had to make a decision like, hey, am I going to like pursue this thing of, and again, I didn't know it was going to be like a big company. I was like, I can build a bathroom, I can build a deck, but like, I don't have clients, like I don't have a workload. Like, how do I figure this out? And like, I just made the leap. Like I had like a minivan I was working out of, like a little gray minivan with the seats they folded in. I bought it for $500 and I'd load all my tools in there. And I would find work from like lead generators, right?
Really?
Like Thumbtack and Angie's. Like that's how I started. I spent a lot of money on them things.
I can bet.
But like I was starting out, so I didn't know how to charge. So I was always like, I would win a lot of them because I was like, I was doing it for next to nothing. Right?
Sure. But you're by yourself this time. You have no help, right?
I was by myself to start. But very quickly, I brought somebody on. Just to like help me.
Of course.
I didn't really hesitate with having somebody working for me.
Sure.
I know that's sometimes a tough thing for people. But
Sure.
for me, I was like, no, like I need somebody to like just do whatever.
Yeah, clean up, carry bags, whatever.
Yeah. So like for I'd say the first year in, it was like, I'm building bathrooms, I'm doing these things.
And how old are you at this point?
25.
Okay.
25.
All right.
I'm building bathrooms, I'm building decks, I'm doing these things. And like, it just started to like click a little more. I started getting references. Like people like my work. They love my price. You know what I mean? Like it was all these things like, and then I hit like a lull where like it kind of got slow.
Okay.
Right? And I'm like, I told the one guy working for me, like I had to let him go or like there wasn't any work. And it was like a weird thing, man. Like I guess I thought not necessarily at that moment that I was done because I knew that I wasn't done. But
Sure.
But I was like, I don't know what happens next. And then like I found someone else that's like in this industry and they were doing work and like I was like, listen, we just got to talking and I just started helping them out. You know what I mean? And then like we started working together and doing some jobs together and just kind of like trading off like labor and stuff. And like so it never really went completely dormant. It just slowed down and I just made up for it by like finding someone else that had some work that would let me fill in just to get by. I didn't like take a job.
Sure.
Like, I didn't get scared and just like jump and get employed somewhere.
Sure.
But yeah, that's a lot of stuff. So maybe ask me some more.
That's all good stuff though. Like I feel like I just learned your whole background in, 2 minutes time.
Yeah.
But I think you like had all these pieces to a puzzle and they might have been different puzzles that, you made into one puzzle, which is cool because a lot of people, they have family money and they're like, oh, here's a loan to start a business, right? Like everyone has different walks of life and and I feel like I relate to you in that sense when it really hit home and you said like, dude, I came from a working family. Like I grew up in a row home in Percy. My parents worked from 8 to 5 and then they would have an hour break and then they'd go bartend at night. Like they were just hustlers, man. And I saw that at a young age. And I was active too. Like I like to be outside. I was skateboarding. I was playing 4 sports. So it was like all year long travel baseball. And I saw like how hard they had to work for me to do some of these things. And by like age 10 or 12, like I was umpiring Little League games down at the Little League fields in Lenape Park. And like, I just like, I enjoyed it because like I love the sport. So I didn't see it as work at the time, but I see how you were saying, like, I was just like, it's ingrained in me, in my blood. Like I have to be doing something to make money and like help out. Like I didn't help with groceries or anything. Like my parents worked so hard and they just, they were good parents. And not saying that I shouldn't have helped out with groceries by the time I was like 18, I probably should have. But I wasn't even home. I left the house at, 18 years old, and I went to college, and I was in college, and then I moved in with my grandmother and took care of her when she was in her like late 80s, early 90s. Dude, so like I went from 18 to I felt like 40 real quick because I was like taking care of her, making sure that her bills were paid, my bills were paid, going to school full time. I was bartending at night. It was like I had a full-time job constantly, and it just hit home when you said all that, like how like you just, yeah, you had free time with friends, but like you quickly realized how much responsibility you had like right out of the gate. So
yeah, I mean, just to touch on the growing up fast thing, right? Like I had my daughter when I was 21.
sure.
So like,
Yeah, I don't have kids, so that's a whole different
I was
element.
terrified. Like I was so scared because like at the time, like I was still working in that city in Philly. Like I was living in Philly too at the time. So like, and I had an apartment that like, it was a weird deal, but like the landlord was living in the one room that I was like, it was a 2-bedroom apartment. It was strange, but I'm like, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
Like I make $12 an hour. I have a kid on the way. I was terrified. So like but the thing was, is like, anytime I'm in those situations, like I don't clam up and just do nothing. Right. Like
Yeah, that makes you more motivated to
exactly
figure it
I
out.
start to say like, okay, like, let me think of how I'm going to solve this. And to be honest with you, it's not always the best action steps with that. Because
Sure.
sort of leading into my story is that like watching my mom and my stepdad like work, like, dude, they worked crazy hours. Like sometimes I'm on work 3 jobs just to like keep things. And like, so I equated like working a lot of hours and like hard to like being like having money. And I quickly learned that like that's not how it works. Right. Because I had a kid and I was terrified, and I was like, I got this job, like I told you, as like a maintenance guy for this condo place. But I was like, again, I wasn't making a whole lot of money. And I'm like, well, I need another income. So I started working 2 jobs, and I would go into work I'd be at work at 8 o'clock till 4:30. And then I go right from my 4:30 to 5 to 11, Monday through Friday. And I was working on a dock, like a freight company, like loading.
Man, you literally had every job under the sun.
Yeah. So, but I was a worker, dude. Like I was a worker, you know what I mean? And I still am. Like it's definitely in my nature to do that. But I did that for a while, and like, dude, I was working 70-hour weeks in 5 days. Like, so I was Monday through Friday, but it was 70-hour work weeks.
Jesus.
And like at the time, I was bringing home like $750 a week, and I'm working all these hours. And like I did that for probably about a year and a half. Right,
Okay.
a year and a half I did that. And dude, I would leave my house at 6 o'clock in the morning. I wouldn't get home till midnight. I'd leave my house at 6 o'clock in the morning, get home, and I had a newborn at the time, so I'd never see my kid. I never saw her first steps, never saw any of that because I was always at work. Right.
Sure.
And
You were thinking of the other responsibilities to support that
I was
part.
so worried about that. And like, man, it's so different now. Like it's so different now. And it's crazy because it was just that was definitely a point in my life where like, I thought I had the solution. I put so much energy into it, and it really wasn't it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Because like, as time went on, like I realized like I lost all of that time.
Sure.
Like watching the very early stages of my daughter, like her development. You know what I mean? Because I was just always at work. So like, just to fast forward that now, like I have another kid. I have 3 children, but I have a 3-year-old now. And dude, I've been able to be there, like to see all of it. And it's so awesome. You know what I mean? And like being where I'm at in my life now has afforded me that. And I just embrace it, dude. Like
Absolutely.
all of it. Like it's,
Well, you rewarded yourself with that, right? You figured it out, and you made that time for yourself, and that's the most valuable part of running a business is having that flexibility. Getting to the point where you can be like, guys, you handle this. I got to go take care of something with family.
Yeah.
Like that's a milestone in life, in my opinion. To have that free time to do stuff what you want. All right, so let's dive back into how did Total Pro Contracting. So you were in the minivan, right? Like when did you start Total Pro Contracting? Got the LLC and said this is it.
It would be October of 2018 was when I like officially launched Total Pro Contracting, and it was still out of the minivan. So it was still in the minivan.
All right. Nothing wrong with that.
And like we made it through that year. I upgraded to like a 98 Econoline van, and just like kept it going. Like I said, I hit that lull where like things got a little slow and I wasn't sure what to do. And then like working with that guy that I mentioned, like trying to fill in, and like it just didn't really work out. Like I passed. I think a lot of people fall into this idea like if they get a partner, it's going to be like a safer play and this and that. And
Sure.
like, and in some regard it is, but like for me, it always kind of turned into like we weren't always on the same wavelength.
Sure.
And it created issues. So to just kind of backtrack with my dad, like he had a partner, and like that really went like it went south for him. Like later on, you know, I mean, he was in business for quite a while, but like later on, the partner thing kind of it fell apart. So it sort of put a little bit of like just made me a little nervous.
A little weary about it.
Yeah, like really trying to understand, like if you do have a partnership, like what does it look like? How does it, you know, what are the roles and how defined are they? Like there's so many things that you have to set in stone. And if one of those things goes off track and you can't bring it back, like
It's not going to work.
So anyways, so I got through that, and like I kind of picked up on like some marketing, right? Like growing it like to where it is now is way different. But in the beginning, like early on I made a Facebook page.
Yep.
Right. I was like, I saw where it was going. Like I'm like, I made that Facebook page probably in like 2016. Because I had done, you know, like official launch 2018, but like leading up to that, like when I had those maintenance jobs and all that, I would build people's decks and stuff like on the side. So that's kind of what started the motion of like, okay, maybe I could do this for myself. So I do a lot of side work.
Sure.
Right. And I was like, let me start Total Pro. Like I was going to be Total Home Improvements, but like somebody already had that name. So I just like threw pro in there, you know?
Nice.
And then now it's, you know, it's what it is. But, so yeah, I wanted to make something early on. And I think it's a lot of like looking at my father and seeing that he had a business. Like it really encouraged me to try to do something like that. And then, yeah, as kind of time went on and it evolved into like, okay, I got a nicer truck. Like I hired like another person. Like I had like more than one person working for me now. Like the projects changed.
Sure.
Right?
Just started evolving.
Yeah.
Quickly,
they
I'm sure.
change into different, at least my experience has been, and granted, I like in some regard, I'm still sort of new at this, right? Like I'm 8 years in, which is great. But I'd say within the last 5 years, like I've watched such a change in just like the project size, project scope, like
Sure.
level of detail.
What was like the first real project where like you were like, okay, we're doing this. Like here's a sick project.
Yeah. So I wouldn't say it was like super like aesthetically nice.
Sure.
But it was a big thing for me. So there was that condo association place that I work for as a maintenance guy. Like after I started doing my own thing, they referred me to another association to build these 5 second-story decks.
Wow.
Right? And at the time, it was just me and a guy. And I'm all excited, you know, and I'm putting the quote together, and like they wanted to have a meeting. I had to go in front of like the association board. Like I'm thinking it's like this is serious. You know what I mean? Like I'm like all
the board.
Yeah, this is gonna put me on the map. Like that's how I felt. At the time, it was probably one of the biggest jobs I ever landed. And it was like maybe 50 grand or something. I don't remember. Somewhere like that. I don't remember the exact number.
It's a large number though when you're starting.
Yeah, it was. But way underbid compared to what I look at it now, and I'm like, oh, but so like I go in front of the board, they like me, everything's great, and then they want to move forward, right? And I'm like, okay, like this is awesome, and that whole project turned into like a lot more than I anticipated.
Sure,
right? Like it was like I said it was gonna be like 4 weeks or some crazy unrealistic timeline to the homeowners association, and basically, like, it took, like, dude, I mean, I felt like we were there for months. Like,
really?
Because we got started, and then, like, we found, like, there was decks there, but there was already existing decks there. So, like, you know, there's already ledger boards, like, the stuff you need to...
Sure, to build it out.
Like, in place. Something, I'm like, all right, pull the ledger boards, like, reflash, do whatever. Well, when they built those decks, like, they build them into hollow cinder block. Right?
Oh,
so
man.
There's no actual anchors. There's no like updated like lateral load connections. Like all these things that need to be in place for the decks to be built. And I'm like, oh man. I'm like, we got to make them freestanding, right? So meaning like they can't be like structurally attached to the house. Like they need to be standalone because I didn't have an engineer at the time to like give me like a special way of like doing epoxy bolts. And like, I don't know if you ever tried to call an engineer, but like, me calling them to get them to draw up a detail for some deck ledger boards are going. They're like, we don't have time for that.
Yeah, there's
like,
no way.
Like, and everything's already ripped apart. Like everything's demoed, right? And I'm like, all right, I got to think. So,
I don't have time for that.
yeah, they're like, they don't even call you back.
Yeah,
like,
I can imagine.
Which, whatever. But, yeah, so like this project was like, but I remember I was so excited. I remember telling one guy, I was like, this is it, man. Like, this is the one that's going to put me, everyone's going to know about me. After I'm going to get the rest of those houses in there. So like that job went on, and like I did it like probably the longest way possible. Like I didn't use a machine to dig the footings. Like I did everything by hand. Like I dug like 30 holes by hand.
Oh my gosh.
Even like the inspector came out and he's like, "Did you dig all these?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "By hand?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "You're a better man than me." But this is what I will say, man. Even though I didn't even think about figuring out my numbers then, like what it came out to be. I know I lost money on it, but after it was done, it was like I was proud of it. You know what I mean? Like it was like, dude, because it was like it had some difficulty to it, and I did it with like very limited resources. Like I didn't really have a lot like very good tools.
Yeah, sure.
Harbor Freight tools, like, and it worked, and it was good, and everybody was happy. You know what I mean? But that was probably one of the first like bigger projects. Like early on, Are
they still there today?
Oh, the decks?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Dude, I
man.
built them. They were built right. Like
They were built to last.
Yeah. Them decks are going to be there for a long time. But as far as
awesome.
Like, yeah, I mean, and then it's just
all right. So you had the decks, and you have one person working with you at this point.
One guy,
and this is 2018ish.
This is 2019.
2019.
2019.
All right. So COVID happens. What happens there?
So COVID was kind of like that time where things initially got slow, like right before COVID.
Yeah, it tightened up real big.
COVID, because COVID, as we know, kind of opened the floodgates.
Slingshotted us.
Yeah, which was like not what anybody expected.
Yeah.
Right. So it was like pre-COVID, like probably, fall before like the whole thing took off. And then I started working with that guy, helping him out. And then COVID hit, and it was like, initially, it's like, oh man, I'm like online trying to get that special license.
Yeah, I think everyone was SBA loans and stuff.
Whatever. Yeah, and I'm like, and I'm doing all that, and then it just got super busy, man. It was almost like a perfect storm for me, because I thought that I was like I mentioned, like I didn't know what was going to happen. Work slowed down, and then all of a sudden, like COVID came, and it was like, nope. Like people were getting these stimulus checks, like they want to do this, or like it just. Whatever. More people were staring at their house, like inside.
They were stuck inside.
And they're just like, okay, like let's build stuff or whatever. And it just catapulted me to doing more work for more people. And there's just a change. There's a ripple effect with that. You know what I mean? That's what I've learned from this is like an experience with a homeowner is going to really dictate like where your trajectory goes as a business, right? Because like, and it's always like, not when you expect it, at least for me.
Sure.
Like I'll have an interaction with somebody and might not see anything come from it. Sometimes 2 years later,
sure,
they'll be like, "Oh, so and so, you did their bathroom, and they love it, and then they're raving over everything you did. I want mine done." And I'm like, thinking like, "Man, it took this long for them to talk about it," Like, but it's.
Well, you think about it, like, especially in COVID, right? You do all these great projects, and, they're still in their home by themselves. They might not have people over because, whatever their beliefs are and the whole virus or whatever. Right. They didn't have people over to entertain or show them their room. So it took a year, maybe two, and then they have people over. That person goes and uses their powder room, and they're like, wow, this looks freaking awesome. Like, who did this, Yeah. The next thing you know. So I think that's a great point. I always say, like, I'm not even a photographer or a marketing firm. Like I'm a relationships builder. Like that is so crucial. Like just to make sure that they're excited about what they got. They're paying all this money, right? Or, they have this great idea and I have to bring it to life. Like my job is to make sure that I hit every single bullet point I can. All of them might not be achievable, right? But like you want to make them as happy as possible going in and coming out of that project, because like you just said, no matter what the timeline is that they share, how great, of a success story it is, that ripples down all the way down the stream.
There's a lot of stuff that I've learned. There's like little touches happening at every time. At any given point, there's always a little touch of like how you might end up in someone's kitchen table.
You're like one of my clients who understands that more than any of my clients. I feel like you just like those little touch points. You understand that, like why that's so crucial. And I think that's why we connect pretty well. is like, yeah, you understand it costs money to do it up front, but like just by having posts going out constantly, it's like someone's going to see that. It might take a year, it might take a year and a half, but that year and a half will pay 50 grand and it just pay for all the marketing, you know?
Right. Yeah. So, no, I mean, I think one good sort of explanation of that is like right before COVID, I remember the job I was at when I told that guy I didn't have any more work. It's funny how this actually makes sense. So we were at that job, right? And it was like a shower. We were redoing a shower. The guy found me on Facebook. Well, his sister-in-law, like later on, lived in like Conshohocken area. She wanted her bathroom done. Like calls me, I do her bathroom. I end up doing like pretty much her whole house. I did her basement, I did her kitchen. Well, and this is what I mean by like the chain reaction. So it started with this guy in the shower, like doing his shower. And
Start with the guy in the shower.
Hold on, let me reword that. So it started with redoing a homeowner's shower. Okay. And then it went to like his sister-in-law, and then his sister-in-law referred me to somebody that like, there was like a group of friends, right?
Sure.
That she had. And it started with like this small job where I had to like open up a portion of wall. And you were at this house.
Okay.
Remember the one in Lafayette where I did the addition?
Yeah.
So that first time I went to that house was like probably 4 years ago, maybe. And all I did was open a portion of wall up to like expand their living room area. The mother of those homeowners was there like watching the house while we were working. Well, fast forward, it went from having a conversation with the mother. She was happy with how the guys were working, like how everybody presented themselves. I go up to her house, like they end up renovating their entire house. Over the course of 2 years now, they've renovated their entire home.
Get out of here.
And
the house you're at or the mother?
Both of them. That's what I'm trying to say.
I saw the kids for sure.
So the one that we're going to shoot, we were supposed to shoot this week, is the parents of those people. So,
okay.
See what I'm saying? So what I'm trying to say is like it starts out with a Facebook post and a guy finding me to tile the shower in his house, to like his sister-in-law, to like now I'm in with this family that like they were super happy with the work that we did and I've had conversations with them. Like it's not necessarily just the work, it's how we present ourselves.
Of course.
How
you bring solutions to the table, because you ran into some serious problems at that.
Oh yeah.
That was crazy with the what was it, the outside cement pad or whatever, like the extending of the floor. That was a crazy story. And how you've figured that out.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that you gotta navigate with older houses. But yeah, so now over the course of like 2 years, maybe 3 years now, it's like we're going back to that same house in Lafayette this early summer to do another addition above the garage. So when I become aware of that, I'm a lot more intentional with my conversations.
Sure.
Right? Like and I believe in what you're saying, like the marketing piece and knowing the exposures and how it like just ripple effects into like longevity, right? Because that's ultimately what I want. Like I don't want this to just be like a one-off thing. Like I put a lot of energy into this over the years.
I feel like a lot of clients that are like, how do we, like, they're interested in social media marketing and content creation and like paying a monthly retainer or whatever. And they're like, how do we know what's converting? And I was like, you're going to know. Like you'll hear it, you'll see it, you'll feel it. Like your bank accounts will show it. It's hard to put a number on something that's not, ad tracking, right? If you're just posting organically and you're getting leads, you have to believe some of that is from brand recognition, right? Like you're creating a brand, people are seeing it, people are sharing it, people are commenting, people are liking, and it might not grow exponentially in even 3 years' time, right? Like it might just be one share that someone sends to someone. Next thing you know, you have 7 jobs lined up, but you might not even know it came from social media. So it's like just knowing to have the brand awareness and organic content going out is such a strong piece of marketing that people are sometimes weary about because it doesn't show a penny figure to their bank account. Like how is that money being spent?
Yeah.
And it's hard to bite that bullet when you're first getting started, or you're on tight budgets just because of the stock market right now it's struggling, right? Or it's volatile. It's all over the place. But I think what's important to remember is like the people that are pulling back and stuff. It's just like investing, right? Warren Buffett always said, like, when the market is fearful, that is the best time to invest. So like when people are like, weary about that, you just keep pushing and you'll see that return. I think you did a great job of that throughout the time that we've worked together, Yeah. And there's you have so many different jobs going on at once and you're like, what's the best job to send you to or whatever. Or like, we show up to a job and you're like, what should we talk about? But we figure it out on the spot and we come up with a small script and we talk about it and those reels perform great for you.
Yeah. No, it's, I guess a testimonial that is like I'll go, like, not that I go everywhere and everyone's like, oh, it's Luke. It's not not there yet. You know what I mean? But people see it. Like people, like I'll be at a Home Depot and like another contractor will be like, hey, you're Luke, right? Like I seen your stuff on Facebook. You know what I mean? And like, or like not even that, like a lot of people that I'm like friends with on social media or whatever.
Sure.
Like if I run into them, they're like, man, I love the stuff that you're like putting out there and this and that. And then I always shout you out because I'm like, dude, look, man, like I'm like the face of it, but like behind the scenes, like Josh and his team are taking care of it. You know what I mean? And that's why I do believe in it because like I dug into like running ads a little bit. Like I'm not like the best, but like I learned like demographics and interests, like how to like sort of perform an ad to where it can actually produce. And I remember I ran an ad, and granted, I had run like a lot more ads prior, but one specifically, I ran an ad. It was like $60 I spent on the ad spend, and the project converted over to a $120,000 project.
Holy smokes!
Right and then I knew it was directly from that ad. Like I traced it. Like I got the message from the ad. I met with the homeowners, and it converted at that project size. So when that happened, right, like. It really instilled a lot more belief that like this is like, and it's not always all the time. I mean, I probably spent thousands of dollars prior to that. You know what I mean? But it is an important piece of it's just an important piece to what we do today. I mean,
definitely is.
The whole world.
Ads is like a whole different, ball game, right? Like now so many people are catching on. So it's like really convoluted and like the algorithm's so picky on what it's choosing to show to, your audience. But I think ads are, if you do them right, they can perform really well. And it's like those people, again, you got to hang in there when the market's fearful and you're not getting a bunch of leads. It's like, keep pushing, and maybe you change your budget for whatever your ad spend is, but like they're so helpful and beneficial. You just don't know it until you land that job, like you just said.
Or social. So I just want to say this too. Social media stuff is so like once you create a following, not that I have a huge following, but I have a local following. And like we had something like scheduling wise change in May, right? And I posted on my story that I have a opening in May. Okay. And just from posting on my story, I had 3 people reach out. They weren't like massive projects, but they're enough to fill up my schedule.
Sure.
And I'm like that's the power of that, right? Like I don't like all I had to do is write a little text on my story saying, hey, some availability in May. Boom, 3 phone calls came in that next Monday. I mean, it's great. Like it's powerful.
And it's free.
Yeah.
To a degree, right? If you can do it yourself, it's free. And you don't have to be amazing at it. As long as you're being consistent and getting something out there, it is the best free way to market your business. And people they're afraid of it because they don't know how it works. There's just nothing to be afraid of. Just start posting. Let's talk about industry trends. Like right now, maybe not even right now, over the past year or two to current, what are you seeing a lot of? Are you getting more requests for exterior work? Are you getting a lot of requests for kitchen, baths? What are people, tending, like, what are you getting a lot of right now?
So for me, it's funny, like when I look at sort of like the trend of our workloads and like specific projects, it's funny because some years we'll get like a lot of kitchens and they'll be like kitchen. And then it'll be like bathrooms. We'll get a lot of baths. So I don't know why that is. I haven't really figured it out, like exactly where that comes from.
And it's consistent throughout that time. That's weird.
It's funny. Like I'll get a lot of like exterior stuff or I'll get a lot of like specific. I mean, it mixes in. It's not that I don't do any of it.
Like someone starts with a kitchen and they're like, oh, let's do our bathroom right here.
But for some reason it's like, or I'll just get like a stretch of like all basements. You know what I mean? Like I'll do like 3 basements in a row. Like, and maybe that's like how I schedule it, but over the years I've noticed that it just seems like some years are more of one thing than the other. But I also think some of it has to do with what we're putting out there.
Sure.
Because I noticed like once we started putting more kitchen stuff out there, like that one we did in Lafayette, like I got a lot more bites on like wanting to get kitchen renovation.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So,
I mean, that was a unique project. That had like custom cabinetry, well, semi-custom cabinetry with like underlighting and all. Like that was a nice kitchen.
Yeah, custom color and stuff. Yeah. So it was definitely pretty involved. But as far as like trends, like, I think it's a matter of
Yeah, like, are you getting unique requests from people? Like, I remember the one bathroom you did was like a kind of like a slat door like this. It was like a hidden door in the wall. That was so cool.
Yeah. So like Pinterest is like you love it. And
It's a double-edged sword.
Because you're like, oh, that's cool. And then like someone shows it to you and you're like, that is cool. But do you realize how involved that is to make? You know what I mean? Like, it's not something. And they're like, well, we could just buy one. I said, you can buy one, but it's not going to be fit for the space. It's not going to be the sizing that you want. Like, it's going to be what it's going to be. So,
the Pinterest boards make it look so much easier than it is.
Oh, it's a tough thing, man. You know,
it's a great ideation thing, right? And then you try and apply it to your own house, and it's like, well, we don't have the same size door frames or whatever.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that the internet can sort of deceive you on, or it just depends how, like, it really depends on the homeowner too, right? Like, if a homeowner's more like lenient on like, hey, I just want it to look like this.
Sure.
It's a lot easier to be like, oh, well, we can make it look pretty much like that, but it might not be exactly the same.
Sure.
You're looking at a wall build or a bathroom build that's like like a 6-figure bathroom.
Sure.
And your budget's only half of that. You know what I mean? Like, we're gonna need to compromise
Somewhere, right?
You know what I mean? So, but like, as far as like what people want and stuff, like, I've noticed there's a lot more like wood tones, like natural like colors and stuff that people are starting to put into their homes instead of like, I mean, we all know the grays and the whites, like that's been its thing for how long? And like, I'm just so like,
I think everyone's over it.
I did a lot of it.
Dude, I'll post a white kitchen online, and I have people repeatedly comment like, how do you cook pasta in there? I'm like, I don't know. I just photograph it.
Yeah, no, it's always going to change. I mean, by no means am I a designer or anything like that. I mean, I can build some cool stuff. Like, I can make it look how you want it to look. But like, you start asking about paint colors, like,
that ain't in my realm.
Let's just
call a designer.
Let's redirect that somewhere.
And you've been working with designers lately, right? Over the past couple of years, like that's something new to your tool belt.
Yeah, it is newer. I mean, there's a specific client base, because like, so for me, it's when I talk to homeowners, like, there's a lot of discovery of like where are they at? You know?
Sure.
And I think most homeowners, have a sense of what they want, and it's usually pretty easy for me to steer them in a certain direction. But then there's other situations where it's like, look, the amount of time we're going to talk over this and through this, I'm not in that regard the professional to like pick out like what colored accent's going to go with the cabinetry. Like, I can reference it, but like, I have a million other things.
Yeah, don't waste my time with that.
Yeah, like, I just so yeah, to bring a designer in is great. Like, we're doing a project now in North Wales. Shout out Jen.
Tiny Anchor. Yeah, Tiny Anchor
like,
Studios.
We ran into a situation where like, the scope just kept increasing, right? And then we got to this portion of like a dead space underneath the staircase. And like, me and the homeowner talking it through, like hidden door, like, or barn door with like some sort of finished storage and this and that. And then I hit a point where I'm like, please just call Jen. You know what I mean? Like,
we'll build it, but she'll design it.
Just because if I sit here like and talk this through with you, and then like I can't really produce something that you can actually look at, we might just be wasting time. So to just reference that over is going to be really the easiest solution. But like I said, it is newer for me. But I think it's just because my client base is also expanding.
Sure.
Things that.
It's like I see designers for builders as like a power partner, right? Like, there's going to be leads coming in from both sources, and if you have like a nice handful of designers you can pick from that have different styles that would match, or personalities that match with homeowners that you're going to work with, it's just another asset to your tool belt that you can just put, look, I got a great designer for this project, you should talk to, or hey, here's 3 numbers, call these designers, they'll be able to help. And they might be in different budget ranges and stuff, but I feel like they just streamline everything from your end. Like, you don't have to worry about selections and like telling a homeowner like, oh, that backsplash isn't going to work with that tile or whatever. Like, you don't have to worry. You just make sure your guys put it in. Yeah. So
it definitely alleviates the back and forth if something wasn't what they thought. It better insulates me too, because I have a lot of other things to focus on in that project than like picking something out that like once it goes on the walls they don't like it. Like, if I can insulate myself from that, you know what I mean? Like, please, like,
hey, you have 6 other vendors that you're trying to make sure do their job, whether it's getting permits or the tile guys are doing it right, or the right patterns or whatever. Let's talk about last thing before we wrap up. Like, what sets Total Pro contracting and Total Pro Roofing. I know we didn't touch too much on that, but owning both of those businesses, what sets you apart? Like from, there's so many since COVID, really, like in every industry that's in the trades, I feel like it's just like they're popping up out of nowhere, Yeah. So like what sets you apart from most other builders or contractors that are doing what you're doing?
I believe what sets us apart is just the ability to know like what we represent, like really understanding that, and like knowing what our value is, right? Like I think a lot of times, at least in the beginning for me, I always sold myself short.
Sure.
Right? Like it was always like I gotta beat the other guy, or I gotta do it. And like the fact is that like I don't need to do that, right? So like not that like we're so unique that there's other people and other builders and other contractors that believe this, but there's also a lot of them that are just sort of like I guess the word would be like bottom feeders, right? They don't really know what they
flying by the seat of their pants.
Yeah, like they're just there to like collect a check or show up whenever, get the deposit, jump to the next job, or whatever the case is. And like for us, it's like this is our livelihood. You know what I mean? Like this is so important to me, and it's important that like my team understands that too, right? That like we vocalize that, and that's why.
Building the culture.
Yeah, like there's a select few, and you can see some other people like in this area that do that, right? They have a culture, like they have something that's like, it's more than just building a bathroom or building a kitchen. Like it's truly like, hey, let's make this an ongoing relationship so that the moment you have another thing you want done in your home, like you're gonna have the confidence in us to just be like, hey, it's not about the money, it's not about whether I'm gonna trust you. It's just about like, we are your partner. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yep. And that's important to me. That's the value in this. And that's where the shift changes, man. Like the shift changes from like just trying to get a job to make some money to like truly like embracing the fact that like you're meeting so many new people, and like there's good times and there's bad times, right? You have clients that you want to work with and clients that you might not want to work with. Like understanding that and evolving to that is what's different, because I'm not out here to just, I'd love the work, but I'm not out here to just take every single job on the planet just because.
Yep.
Like understanding my value, I truly believe sets us apart from just some of the guys that are just trying to like, mark it off, like check the box.
Yeah.
And go, here's
job to job. Yep.
Like that's not what I want. You know what I mean? Because it also correlates to how the team performs.
Yep.
Right. Like if I'm putting the team in a house that like, the homeowner's difficult and there's like very like not well at communicating and like all these things, like, and then there's days where like, I mean, I've been on jobs where like a client makes a comment and like it's like a one-off, and like the guys are like, what are they talking about? Like, why are they saying this? It's like, and it makes it weird. You know what I mean? So there's definitely a lot of things that play into it.
I can imagine.
And
it goes back to the building those relationships, and that's what I think sets you apart. I feel like you're really good with talking with the homeowners, and the communication is huge because you communicate really well with us, and hopefully vice versa. But like understanding your needs for what you need from us, and I'm sure it's vice versa to how you do it to the homeowners. Like absolutely, it's so important. It's crucial. Yeah. So to wrap up here, I just wanted to talk about like final insights from you and like how projects come together, and like maybe like the workflow from start to finish. Like what does that look like? So just to educate some of the listeners, like when someone reaches out, like what is the process? And I don't need it long-winded, but just like start to finish, how it goes for you. So if someone reaches out, hey, it's Luke, how can I help?
Yeah, definitely. For me, it's the initial phone call, or like let's say I get a form submission right on the website and it's in my email. Like scheduling a call. It's more than me just being like, hey, like, what's your address? Let me run out there. Yeah. Like that's a little different for us, right? For me, we're going to have a conversation and truly understand like what you're calling about, right? Like if you want a basement done, okay, and the homeowner's like, yeah, like we've been thinking about doing this for a while, and like our daughter's in college and she's about to come home, and like, and I'm listening, right? I'm letting them talk through what it is they're calling about. And I get to a point in the conversation where I truly understand, like, hey, the daughter's coming home from college. She needs her own space to live in while she's home from college until she figures out her career or whatever the case is. And they're like a new couple, or like they're just moving in together, and the situation's like, they put a lot of thought into this.
Okay.
Right? Before I even talk about money or anything else. And like, this might be a 20, 30, sometimes a 40-minute conversation.
Sure.
Before I even go to their project. And there's some other things too, like when you go on the form submission, like you add pictures, like there's some details that come in. So I try to compress most of that into one phone call. Like, let's talk about why you're here, like why you're calling, what you want it for. Is it pain or pleasure, right? That's usually two that you're going to lean in on. Who's all like the main key characters in this, right?
Sure.
Like,
who's it for?
Is there a wife? Is there a daughter? Like, who needs to be a part of this conversation so we can really get to the decision maker, right?
Yeah.
And then having enough information prior to that phone call with pictures and description to where I could give you an idea on cost, right? Because let's be honest, like, people aren't calling just to like talk to you about whatever's going on. Like,
how much?
You want to know how much it costs.
Yeah.
Right? So, and you can see like on my website, I put pricing on there because like I don't want someone to be, you know, if I'm here and they're here, you know what I mean? Like, I want to make sure
let's not waste time.
We're at least talking about that. So once you get through those couple of things, and then the trust piece, right? Like in that conversation, like we talked about why, we talk about the money, we talk about who's involved. Now let's talk about if I come out there and there's something I see that wasn't in those pictures. Like, is it okay if we just take a pause?
Yeah.
And just say, hey, look, like, I'm not here to try to upsell you on this or whatever the case is, but can we just talk about what I didn't see in the pictures?
Sure.
And
what this could entail for the project or whatever.
And allow them to have the confidence to be like, oh yeah, I'd feel okay with talking about that if it happened.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if I do that, it saves a lot of time for me, like running to the house, doing this, doing that. And that's just the sales process. But that's so crucial in this, right?
But again, it comes down to communication. Like, hey, I didn't see this in your photos. This may arise at some point during the project, depending what happens, whatever it is, right? Opening a wall or a beam's there and you don't know about it. Like, that communication to let them know up front before you start throwing a hammer through the wall. It's like, hey, this may happen. Yeah. I'm not sure, yet what's in this wall. But I think that communication is crucial.
I'd say that's such a vital piece in just like talking with a homeowner and building the trust and having the ability to just like talk through things, and then leading into like first day of getting on site and doing everything else. I mean, everything's mapped out. There's a scope, there's a lead, there's open communication. I mean, I would say, and you hear it all the time, but like communication, right? The word communication, like it's so crucial to just make everything easier. Yeah. Because if you go to a project and you're like so far into it and nobody talked about any of the stuff happening, there's going to be a problem, right? Like, there's going to be something that wasn't what they thought or whatever it was. So it's important to me to do
Megan is law, man. Anything that can happen will happen.
Yeah,
it's so true.
You need to do check-ins. Like, you have to be like, hey, look, I want you to finalize this with me. Like, is this a good height? Like, does this make sense? Like all of it's talked through so that by the end of it, any questions that may have been a question, like, are answered. Right?
Yeah.
There's no like just stone left unturned, right?
Yeah.
Like that type of situation. So, and then there's the work and all that stuff. And I think we don't necessarily need to get into those details.
Sure.
It's more just, for me, it's making sure a homeowner feels comfortable. Because, dude, sometimes we're in people's houses for like months.
Yeah. Especially if you're redoing a whole basement or a whole
like,
kitchen or whatever.
It can be like a long time. So, and like after a couple of weeks, sometimes it's like, all right, like, and not that it's bad, but if you're not talking about stuff or like where we're at,
it becomes uncomfortable.
There's like a weird, like, because we've been there, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're not perfect. Like, things have fell through the cracks, and we've definitely like fallen short sometimes. And like, I hate being there. Like, I don't want to be in a spot where it's like uncomfortability or uneasy. Like, I want to be upfront, get ahead of it.
Just be transparent. Yeah.
And I think that's another thing that like sets us apart is like, we're not here to just like do whatever in your house. Like, you're involved in this. You know what I mean? Like, this is your vision.
Yep.
Like, and you need to, and I think most people want to be involved. I mean, there's the occasional, like, don't bother me with it.
Yep.
But 9 times out of 10, like, people, they're paying good money to
they want to know
what they want.
Yeah.
So, So
absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's great points all around, and I think your processes are evolving to be better and better each project that you're doing that I'm seeing, because we talk about it in the reels that you do, and I feel like you do a really good job of explaining, like, hey, from the outreach call to the, here's how it's going to go, to getting the permits, to doing the work,
Right.
and then just giving you a final walkthrough at the end, making sure you're happy with everything, and those check-ins in between. Like, I feel like you have a really good system in place that you're just evolving each project, and it's getting better and better. Yep. So, well, dude, I appreciate you coming here. What's the best way for people to get in touch with you? Is it social media? Is it email? Call you directly?
Yeah, I mean, my phone number's all over that stuff, but social media, I mean, the website's huge, Total Pro Roofing, totalprocontracting.org for Total Pro Contracting, Total Pro Roofs for the exterior stuff. I know we didn't touch much on that, but form submissions are the best. Right. But my phone number's on there too. So that's a good way to get hold of us.
Well, I feel like this is a good time to, start thinking about your roofs. We're coming out of winter. I know a lot of people and clients have asked, who do I use? Who do I recommend for a roofing company or whatever? So, I always give out a handful of names, and
Sure.
You're actually going to be doing my parents' roof probably in the next, month or so once it warms up here. It's just a good time to check your roofs, your gutters, your exterior siding. From harsh winter, we had really cold temperatures, and then really warm temperatures, things start to expand and contract and possibly crack or break. So especially with these asphalt roofs, it's a good time to start, doing that outreach, to start thinking about when it gets warmer to replace roof shingles or a whole roof or plywood, and, look for that rot damage from the ice melting or whatever. So if you need to reach Luke, like he said, reach out to him on his website or social media. He gets back to you pretty quickly. He's pretty on top of that stuff. And if you have a project, you're going to have a great conversation that he's going to be very transparent with you on, which he clearly explained during this show. But Luke, thanks for coming in, man. Thanks for being part of season 1, episode 9, and talk to you on the next project.
Yeah, sounds good, brother.
Thanks for tuning in to The Home Show. I hope you enjoyed the conversation and found something you can take with you. If you like this episode, be sure to follow us and subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. And if you're a local leader in the real estate, design, or construction industry and want to share your story, visit om-media.com to apply to be a guest. Until next time, remember, you can't go home without OM.